Slowly the odds began to change. The figures on our three platers began to rise. There was very little activity on the other 6 horses. Slow-thinking Gimpy Gordon started to get up, but I put out a hand to stop him. "But the odds are dropping," he complained. "Gimpy," I said, "they pay on the final listing anyway. But would you like a tip?" "Sure," he said nervously. "My tip is to keep your cash in your wallet. Put it on the nose of some horse and it's likely to get blown away by a high wind." The odds were changing rapidly. What with psionic information receivers, trend predictors, and estimated anticipators, the mutual computers kept up with the physical transfer of funds, figured out the latest odds, and flipped the figures as fast as the machinery could work the dials. In no more than a few minutes, the odds on the 3 platers looked more like the odds on horses that stood a chance of winning. Barcelona looked at me. "What did you do, wise guy?" "Who, me? Why, I didn't do anything that you did not start. Except that maybe I was a little more generous." "Spiel," he snarled. "Why, shucks, Joseph. All I did was to slip good old Gimpy Gordon a tip." "How much?" "Just a lousy little $1,000 bill." "A grand? For what, wise guy?" "Why, for telling me what horses you picked for the Derby." Barcelona looked at the odds on his horses. Flying Heels had passed even money and was heading for a 1-2 odds on. The other platers were following accordingly. "And what did you tell Gimpy, Wilson?" "You tell him, Gimp," I said. "Why, Wilson just said that we should ride along with you, Mr. Barcelona, because you are such a nice guy that everybody works awfully hard to see that you get what you want." "There's more," roared Barcelona. "Only that I shouldn't mention it to anybody, and that I shouldn't place my bet until the mutual window's open, because if I did, it would louse up the odds and make you unhappy." Gimpy looked at Barcelona's stormy face, and he grew frightened. "Honest, Mr. Barcelona, I didn't say a word to nobody, not a word." He turned to me and whined plaintively. "You tell him, Mr. Wilson, I didn't say a word." I soothed him. "We know you didn't, Gimpy." Barcelona exploded. "Ye gods," he howled. "They used that gimmick on me when I lost my first baby tooth. 'Don't put your tongue in the vacant place,' they said, 'and don't think of the words gold tooth, and it'll grow in natural gold.'" As he spoke, the odds on Flying Heels changed from a staggering 1-8 to a more even staggering 1-10. That meant that anybody holding less than a $10 bet on such a winner would only get his own money back, because a track does not insult its clients by weighing them down with coins in the form of small change. They keep the change and call it breakage for any amount over an even dollar money. Delancey said to Barcelona, "You've had it, Joseph." Barcelona snarled, "Put the big arm on Wilson here. He's the fast man with the big fix." "Wilson didn't fix any race, Joseph. He just parlayed some of the laws of human nature into a win for himself and a lose for you." "Now see here, what's this guff about human nature?" "Well, there's the human desire to ride with a winner, and the human frailty that hopes to get something for nothing, to say nothing of the great human desire to be 'on the inside track' or 'in the know,' so that they can bet on the sure thing. And so," said Delancey, "we've about 20,000 human beings, full of human nature, holding tickets on your 3 dogs, Joseph. They bet their money because the inside dope said that the big fix was in. And I can tell you what 20,000 people are going to do to this inside dope when their nags run last is going to make Torquemada ask permission to return to life for a second inquisition, this time with extrasensory tortures." He turned to me as Barcelona went pale. "Wally," he said, "want to bet that somebody doesn't remember that old question of whether it's possible to break every bone in a man's body without killing him?" "I'd be a fool to cover that one," I said. "But I'll play even money and on either side of whether Joseph dies or lives through the process." "Stop it!" screamed Barcelona. He grabbed me by the arm. "Wilson," he pleaded, "can you? Stop it, I mean. Can you fix it?" "Sure," I said. "Legally?" "Yep, but it'll cost you." "Just money?" "Just money. and admitting that you lost, Joseph. I lose, he said. Go ahead. Okay, Joseph. Now let's be real honest. Those three longshore turtles belong to you, don't they? Yes. And right now, you wouldn't even want to see them run, would you? In fact, you really want that they shouldn't run. Yes. All right, Joseph. Call off your noisemakers and toss the head steward a thought. Tell him you're scratching your entries. But that won't stop the people from losing their money. Natch. So next you broadcast the thought that because of this terrible, grievous error you are refunding their money out of your own pocket, since the Track Association will not, or is not, obliged to. He turned to his pair of rattleheads and snarled, All right, shut up. A mental silence fell that was like the peace of rest after a busy day. As Barcelona was tossing his cancellation at the steward, and preparing to make a full and plausible explanation to the gambling instinct of the Kentucky Derby crowd, I considered the matter carefully. Let's see, I thought. He wants 'em not to run, and so he can't complain to me if they do not. I didn't fix the race, so Lieutenant Delancey can't accuse me of that. That make everybody happy, and I win. A small hand stole into mine. What about me, Wally? Nora asked sweetly. I looked down at a thionite dream come true by the glow in her eyes that admired no one else but me. You're mine, I reminded her, until Flying Heels, Moonbeam, and Lady Grace win 1, 2, and 3 at the Kentucky Derby. Or, she said mischievously, till death do us part. I was instructing her how to respond to a kiss as a lady should respond, when about 200,000 noisy, exuberant human natures yelled and radiated and thought, They're off! But they didn't mean us. They were watching a bunch of long-faced hay-burners chasing one another around a dusty track. Human nature ain't changed a bit. It's just more complicated in an extrasensory sort of way. End of The Big Fix by George O. Smith. Recording by Alan Winterroud. Boomcoach.blogspot.com